All right, we are streaming live. Good morning and welcome to Kansas City Oasis. We are Kansas City's premier alternative to faith-based programming, and we are here on Zoom live with all of you on your beautiful computer/telephone screens. Thank you all for logging in and joining us today. We're also recording on Facebook, recording live and recording. I mean, if you want to see this, you totally can in multiple ways. So you're welcome. Thank you to all the people who are smarter than me that made that happen. Who am I? I'm Julie Randolph. I will be your hostess and MC for today. I am so glad you guys made it out because we are going to have a really rockin' program for you today. But if you're not familiar with the Oasis, I do want to remind you that our core values are people are more important than beliefs. Meaning comes through making a difference. Reality is known through reason. Human hands solve human problems. And be accepting and be accepted. So you're going to hear more of those themes as we go through our entire talk today. Our programming for today does include a musical guest. We have Mike Dillon with us. For those of you who are logged in early, you got an extra bonus of JJ playing on the banjo. Thank you, JJ. But Mike Dillon is going to be playing some amazing music for us. I can't wait to hear more. Our community moment will be our very own Melissa Latham, and she'll be talking to us about animals and all the work that she does taking care of them and helping us learn how to take care of our own animals. And then our featured speaker is Tyke Brian, and she is going to be talking to us about Peaceful Rally Tulsa. And that's a new organization that she's going to explain more and more about. So thank you again for joining us. Please make sure you're snuggled up. Grab a beverage or a coffee or a pillow or an animal or someone squishy if there is that available to you. And we are going to welcome Mike Dillon to please play some music for us. Off to you, Mike. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
want one more? Okay.
Oh, Mike, that is amazing. Thank you so much. I've been keeping an eye on our group chat and people are just like, this is the coolest thing ever. We did have a question. Is this a xylophone, a marimba, or a vibraphone?
This is a vibraphone. I didn't plug the vibrato in this morning. So it's vibraphone without the vibrato. The first song was a song of mine called Cloudburst. And then that second song was a Jane's Addiction song called Summertime Rolls.
Awesome. That is so amazing. We can look forward to hearing from you more throughout our program. So please stay tuned. We'd love to hear, your thoughts on our programming as well. So we are going to transition briefly into a few announcements. So for those of you who are still waking up and getting your coffee, it's Father's Day. Yay! Happy Father's Day. Now I know these holidays can always be a little sensitive for a lot of people. Maybe, You had varying life events. But hey, if you have a dad, call your dad. It's backwards. Sorry, I didn't think about that. But I'm going to call my dad later. And thank you to all of our fathers in the audience here today for giving your love and your kindness and your affection to all of the offspring of the generations to come. And if you maybe didn't have a great relationship with your father, or if they've passed on, I encourage you to reach out to those people in your life who were that father figure to you, or uncles or cousins. I always have a very, very heavy text message day on these types of holidays, just showing my love to everybody that is sharing their love with, children of their own. So happy Father's Day to all of our members. Another announcement, we'll talk about this more in a few minutes, but we need some more community moment presenters. So if you can string together a conscious stream of thought in a way that other people can understand, it doesn't have to be a PowerPoint. It doesn't have to be some big, long, elaborate thing. We just want you to share with us and tell us what is something that you know a lot about, or what are you passionate about? Is there a cool story or something that you learned that you think the rest of us could benefit from? We really want to hear from you, and we have this community and we want to use it. So please reach out to us. You can reach us on the Facebook private page. Mark Dixon is our contact for community group moment speakers. So please reach out to Mark Dixon. Another announcement coming up, we are going to be doing adult Mad Libs. We're going to try this out and see how it goes. Sarah is going to be our lead for this. Coming up soon, and so please keep your ears and eyes tuned out for it says virtual adult Mad Libs is what's going to be happening, and we will make sure that once those are available, we'll get the information out to you so we can all participate. That sounds really fun. We are still meeting together on this exact Zoom channel, so if you can bookmark this somewhere or put it on your calendar, anything like that. We have every morning at 7:30 for those of us who are up early, maybe getting ready for work or work from home or any of those things. Kids running around in pajamas in the background while we sip coffee. We are just going to sit around and hang out and chat with each other. We also get together on Wednesday evenings for a kind of evening after dinner get together around, is it 8 o'clock? I believe last time I was there, 8 o'clock on Wednesdays, and just an opportunity for us to touch base with each other, have some closer conversations. Now I would like to transition into our community moment speaker. Today is one of our very own. Melissa is one of our KC Oasis board members, actually. And Melissa describes herself as tall, Cajun, and mysterious. So now I'm curious, why are you mysterious, right? And her warning label is check yourself before you wreck yourself. So Melissa, please take it away.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Okay, good. So good morning, everyone. Happy Father's Day to all the dads and father figures out there. And thank you to Mike Dillon for that beautiful music this morning. That was amazing. So as Julia said, I'm Melissa Latham, and I serve on the Kansas City Oasis Board of Directors as a secretary. I've been a part of Oasis since almost the beginning. But during the day, my day job is actually, I'm a pet groomer, or more specifically, a dog groomer. And so it's a big passion of mine. I've been doing it for over 20 years. And it's just, dogs have just been a big part of my life for a long time. It's just one of the things that I love to do. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of grooming. I'm going to talk specifically about some tools, the proper tools to use, but I'm going to show you what is important about maintaining skin and coat, and kind of educate you a little bit about what's going on in there so that you can better understand it. Also, just as an affront, I hate being in the spotlight, so I'm super, super nervous about this. This is not how I usually work. I am a grooming instructor, but usually I'm on the floor with a dog and a table and scissors and some other stuff going on. So this is not my normal way of teaching this kind of stuff, so we'll see how it goes. But I want to first start by explaining a little something that people might not know about the grooming industry as a whole. it is not a regulated industry, which means that there is no set standard for education. There's no true licensing. There isn't even a certification that's necessary. It's all voluntary. So literally anyone can call themselves a pet groomer and open up a business and actually take very sharp objects to live animals, and it's perfectly legal. So so the things that I'm going to tell you may not be known by your groomer, just because it's a voluntary educational thing. You kind of have to have a hobby within the hobby of dog grooming to really kind of delve down into these things. Even when I went to dog grooming school, they didn't teach us about the skin and the coat in this way, right? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and we're going to get this started. So here we go. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So the thing I want you to know is there are two, I get this question a lot. What's the difference between fur and hair, right? Because there are two genetic categories of coat types. For dogs, there's fur and there's hair. And the difference is predetermined length and undetermined length. And the way I want you to think about this is when you think about the hair on your head, it grows and grows and grows, and it has an undetermined length. That's why it's hair. But say like your eyelashes or your eyebrows grow a certain length, and then they fall out and turn over, right? And so this is fur, right? For dogs, especially shorter coat dogs, they have a high rate of turnover, this predetermined length hair. So those are the two distinct categories of hair fur. Now there are 15 coat types throughout all the dogs, and there are 200 recognized breeds. There's many more breeds than that, but this is basically what every dog on the planet falls into. Okay, these 15 coat types, and it's important that you understand how these coat types work so that you can use the proper tools and maintain them in the right way. So just really quickly, I'll gloss over them, but smooth is, pretty much in the name. These are like your boxers or your smooth coated Dachshunds, things with very, very tight to the body, short hair. And then you have double coats, and they have varying lengths, but think of like Huskies or like even pugs, Labradors, those kind of things. So certain colors of Labradors, black coated Labradors tend to have a single coat more than a double coat. And then flat coats are like your long, very silky, fine coat. And then hairless kind of speaks for itself, although hairless dogs do tend to have some hair or very, very fine hair. But it's important that their skin gets maintained too. And then you have wire coats, which is this very hard or rough coat, usually found on your terriers and stuff like that. It protects them when they're fighting the vermin and going after these very nasty rodents and stuff. So like when the rodents try and bite at them, they almost have this hard outer shell of a coat that protects them from sharp teeth. And then you have long coats, which are like Shih Tzus or Maltese or Afghan hounds. Curly coats, poodles, Bichons. Quarter coats like the Pulley or the Commodore. These are the dogs that look like mops. And that it's in people we call them dreads, but on dogs we call them cords. But they're pretty much the same. It's the same thing. And then you have combination coats, either because there's a mixed breeding or because some breeds of dogs have a mixture of coats. They have a tight top coat and a long furnishings at the bottom. So this is what a shed cycle looks like. Okay, so you see all the stages of hair growth, but I want you to take note of the telogen stage. This is where the hair actually separates inside of the follicle but sits. And this is what you are trying to get out, right? This is when you're brushing and trying to remove that hair. You need to get it out so that a new hair can grow in its place. Okay. And this is very important for specifically for a lot of breeds, but some breeds need extra help, like wire coats. You actually have to pluck it out, whereas other dogs kind of naturally shed this out. But they need assistance a lot of times because man has, you know, manipulated dogs in such a way that we've genetically altered them in ways. So now we have to assist them because we develop coats for certain regions and certain functions. And so, you know, I mean, normally even natural coats need to be assisted, but specifically for the dogs that we've managed to intervene in. So this is basically the hair cycle, and the shorter the hair, the predetermined length shorter, the faster that cycle takes place. So if you have really short haired dogs, you're seeing a lot of shedding all the time. It's roughly about 33 days, give or take, depending on some factors. But for a very short haired dog, this is what you're seeing all the time. And then obviously the longer that the hair is, the longer that cycle takes before you shed. But a lot of people think that longer haired dogs shed more. That's just not really the case. It's shorter haired dogs. They're almost a nightmare on the shedding cycle. So this is a comparison of canine skin and follicle versus human hair and follicle. And the thing I want you to note here is two very important things. Is that one, you'll see that human skin is twice as thick as canine skin. And this is even more so like for felines. Felines have an even finer skin. It's almost like paper in some regards. It's very delicate. The other thing here I want you to know is the sweat gland. Dogs do not have a sweat gland like people have a sweat gland. They don't produce any liquid on their skin to cool them down like people do. They do kind of have a sweat gland within the hair follicle, if you will. They evaporate some heat out of the follicle, but they mostly only sweat out of the pads of their feet and out off the tongue, out of their mouths. That's where they dissipate heat from. But the skin itself doesn't have the ability to moisten itself. It all comes out of the sebaceous gland that we all have, this oil gland on the side of the follicle. And then you'll also notice here that there is more hairs per follicle in a dog than versus a human. And I'll explain that here in a second. So this is kind of what the breakdown looks like. So you have a very important, what we call a primary hair, guard hair. And the guard hair is the colored hair. It's the thing that gives your dog the color. It's the most important of all the hairs that your dog will have because it's the most protective in terms of like, because they don't have as much layers of skin. The coat acts as like their first line of defense. So you need to protect these guard hairs, and it's very important to keep them intact as much as possible. And then what you see on the sides here, the secondary hairs, and those are known as undercoat hairs. This is the stuff that is very fine and drives every dog owner nuts. It's that stuff that makes dust balls gather gather around. You have dust bunny. This is where that stuff comes from. So this is kind of this slide explains what's going on here with the coat. So you see your major guard hairs or primary hairs, and then you have this undercoat hair under the surface, right? And so the coat's first job is to protect a dog from the sun. It's like natural sunscreen for the dog because they don't have the ability to protect their skin any other way, right? So this is their first line of defense there. And then you want to make sure that you keep this undercoat from being matted. Otherwise, they can't properly regulate their temperature because the heat can't escape out of those follicles, right? Like it should from the skin. And then the other thing is to keep them from being wet. And I know this is odd because there are a lot of dogs who just like to be pigs and stay wet all the time, but most coats are very water resistant, which is why even when a dog gets soaking wet and they shake off, that it doesn't take very long before they're dry as a whole. Like give it a little while in the sun and they dry it pretty quickly. It doesn't take them long. And that's because there is a water resistance to that top coat, that guard hair coat, not the undercoat, the primary coat, which again is why it's really important to keep that intact. So this demonstrates what's happening. So you'll see in stage 1, this would be, we're looking at the solstice now. This is usually the cycle that dogs follow. They follow the solstice. It's when they shed out and prepare their coat for the summer, which is a lighter, less undercoat style of coat so that you can see the air passes through there really nicely, but it still blocks out the sun to keep them cool. And I want you to think of a dog's coat as like insulation in your house. It traps in cool air, but it also traps in warm air when it's necessary. So it's doing dual purpose jobs, right? The stage 2 is what you see in the wintertime. You see this thicker undercoat. This is to insulate them more, to keep them warm, and again, protect them from the elements, snow, rain, ice, whatever, right? And you'll see that cold air has a harder time of getting in there when they have a more thicker undercoat. And then in stage 3, you see what happens when you have impaction. Nothing passes through. No air is getting in, no heat is escaping out. And to solve that problem, people tend to shave their dog. And this becomes a problem because now you're taking away their ability to regulate their temperature, and then you're exposing their skin to the sun with no capability of cooling that off. And even if your dog is, say, inside a good majority of the time, we as people, we tend to crank up our ACs, and a dog can't keep itself warm enough in the AC or cool enough outside without that natural insulation that it has. So I like to discourage shaving dogs, but certain particular kinds. Your undetermined hair length dogs are pretty okay with getting a close shave, but your double coated breeds, not so much. And this is why I will beg you to please don't have your double coated dogs shaved. And when I say double coat, I mean like your Arctic style coat, these Spitz type breeds, your Huskies, your Malamutes, your Golden Retrievers, even any dog with a big, furry, fluffy coat. If you shave that dog, not only are you really just destroying its ability to regulate its temperature or protect itself from the elements, but you also risk damaging the coat irreparably. And I'll show you examples of this. This is what we call clipper alopecia. And basically it's dogs with double coats who have gotten shaved. You'll see golden retriever, a husky, and Pomeranian. This weird little faded dull coat that you're seeing on the body of the dog, that's the undercoat, because you've cut down the guard hair and all that's left to overtake it is this undercoat. Now the guard hair still exists, but it's way down in the follicle and it's so tiny that it cannot come out now, like without major rehabilitation and some really tricky tactics if you're savvy. But sometimes you can't get it out at all. It's just stuck in there. And it's a nightmare, really. But you can see that it leaves them sparse and just, I mean, really sickly looking, but all of their protection is gone. And it doesn't really help what people intend to do, which is to cut down shedding. This is the stuff that sheds on your double coated, this hair right here. And so if you're trying to prevent or slow down your dog from shedding, you're going about it the wrong way, because you're really just destroying the good coat and you're leaving the bad coat, and you're just ruining the dog's coat altogether. So please, I personally will not shave a double coated dog in my shop unless it's absolutely medically necessary, which is few and far between. I mean, maybe if, you know, like for surgery or something like that, you know, you have to shave a patch and that's just facts. But as far as, you know, just because it's an owner's personal preference, I'm the wrong groomer to ask to do that. I won't do it. I won't do it. My first duty is to the safety of the animal. That's how I do it. Other groomers, it's more about aesthetics and making money. It is what it is. But for me, this is about the animal's health and well-being.
Melissa, as you transition, we have about 2 more minutes, just so you know.
Okay. All right. Well, this should go quickly. Okay. So this is the thing that I get asked a lot. How often should I have my dog bathed or get my dog groomed? I say at minimum once a month, because I mean, just it's shedding skin and it's shedding hair all the time. Even those, you know, supposedly shedless breeds, that's a lie. All dogs shed, even the hairless ones. They're shedding skin cells like nobody's business. You just want to wash that away. And you want to make sure that those hair follicles are free from like sebum buildup and other kind of dirt and grime and stuff like that, so it can breathe and it can grow properly. And you'll find that you'll have a much better time. Your dog won't be as hot. You won't have as much shedding all over your house every day. And now we move on to proper tools and brushes. So this is the boar bristle brush. This is one of my favorites. I'm sure people are familiar with this one, but this is the one that you want to use on your short coated breeds. And it's very important because the goal here is really not to brush out hair, but it is to spread the natural sebaceous oils that come out of the follicle all through the hair shaft. And this is what makes your dog shiny. It keeps their coat healthy and hydrated, and you won't have as much fallout or damage. And they'll have a lot more protection from the sun, because these guys don't have a lot of coat, right? So this is your go-to for all your short-coated breeds and hairless guys, and your wire coats. This is a rubber brush. This is my favorite brush. It's the most versatile. It's even good on kitties, for all you cat folks out there. Horse people know it as a curry comb or just a plain old rubber brush. And they're varying hardness levels. So some are really soft and some are really hard. It just depends on what kind of coat you're trying to tackle. But these are really good for short hair, wire hair dogs also. Not so much for long coats, but the whole point of it is that it's rubber. It causes drag on the hair that is loose and detached from the follicle, like I showed you in the Tanagen stage. And it just yanks it out so that a new hair can grow in and start the whole process all over again. The pin brush. This has to be your friend. If you have any kind of long coated dog at all, in any like length that's not tight to the body, the pin brush should be the thing that you own. And I prefer that you use it with like a detangling spray, one that's safe for kids or puppies and kittens, 8 weeks or older. And make sure that your pen brush doesn't have little nubs on the end, because if it does, it will catch the hair and it will actually break the hair, and then you'll have ugly hair because it'll be all frayed and broken. So make sure that you have straight pins and that they're polished pins. It should tell you, it should say polished pins, but you'll know, just straight pins, no nubs on the end. This is an undercoat rake. This is for all you German Shepherd people, Golden Retriever people, all those people with the extra undercoat dogs. This straight pinned one is really easy to use. You just drag it through the coat, and please go with the grain of the hair growth. Go in the same direction that the hair grows. Don't go the opposite way. That's really uncomfortable for dogs. Just don't do it. If your dog hates to get brushed and you've been brushing them backwards, that's why. It's really uncomfortable. But this hooked undercoat rake, this is for really, really thick impactions. It's not for your everyday shedding. And it's actually got a razor on the inside of that hook. So I caution people, don't use it unless you really know what you're doing, or leave it for the professionals. But this straight pin undercoat rake is great. And you can use that one on kitties too. It's really nice. And then
Melissa, I do have to cut you off.
okay.
I'm like so engaged. I'm like, I don't know how to talk. This is so interesting.
Right.
What I'd love to do is, can we just put a pause on this, and then at the end of our program, all of you, please stay tuned, and we'll have Melissa just kind of finish up, and then we can always see if you're able to put it on the slide.
So this is my last brush. I was just going to say this universal. Yeah, the universal slicker brush. It works on all coat types. Just use conditioner on it and then combs. That's it. Just comb through your dog. Make sure you get down to the skin, and that's it. Happy brushing.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, look, there's a copy of the dog out of fur. This is amazing. Thank you so much. This makes me remember back to when I had a Golden Retriever as a kid, and we hated brushing him and it was a chore. But now I understand that my parents knew better. Melissa, thank you so much. We've had a couple questions or comments go through. We can definitely get to those in a little bit as well.
Sure.
For right now, I do want to make sure we have time for a little break. Julie is going to probably put us in some breakout rooms. So if you're interested to participate, just stay tuned. And when you get assigned a breakout room, you can click into that. We'll take a break for about 10 minutes and then come back for some more music with Mike. There we go.
Hey, everybody. I went to a room, but there was nobody in there, so I came back out.
We always crash if we go to breakout rooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Um,
Must be our fine. We're kind of in a breakout room with JJ, but we're not.
we're in the main room, which is our breakout room. Look at us rebels breaking out into the main.
We sure don't get the program, do we?
We can't get Floofmaster 3000 over here to get him on video, unfortunately.
I love Floofmaster 3000.
He's on the couch. He was looking over here, but he's like, no, I'd rather stay here.
What a pompous.
I don't, you guys, you're on the, just so you know, not because I want you to quit talking, but you're on the live stream. Just,
Oh, hi, live stream.
which is fine. I mean, say hi to our Facebook fam. But I just wanted to give you a heads up in case, you know, depending on what you wanted to say to Facebook this morning.
I went to a
appreciate
breakout
that.
room and I was the only one there, so I left the breakout room.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Facebook must be.
I'm probably going to take this opportunity to refill my coffee, but
I got this. So I have this ginormous, I don't know if you can see it because I'm my virtual background. I have this ginormous
oh my God.
coffee cup.
We need a banana for scale.
Oh, here's my head. Here, well, I don't know.
Now we can't see it.
Yeah, because of the virtual background. But yeah, it's a lot. Once I finish this, I will be uncontrollable. So we're having a nice kind of little break with that rain we got the other night. That's been kind of lovely this week.
It's been really nice for riding bikes. It's not like
that.
crazy hot.
Mhm.
Don't have to get up either early or go late, which is really nice.
Yeah. So hi everybody on Facebook. It looks like, well, I don't know who's all watching now. I see Skinner is on there.
Jim.
I think, you know, it's Father's Day, so I have a feeling there are probably a lot of people out doing that kind of thing today.
I know my parents got a gift certificate. They're going to some fancy lunch place in Parkville.
Oh,
I'm doing
nice.
nothing. I'm taking a nap for Father's Day,
Are you? You're
Yeah.
treating yourself to a nap.
and it's gonna be nice.
Mm-hmm.
You take a nap every day.
That's not true.
On the weekends you do.
That's true.
So how's the new job going? You started or?
Really interesting. I'm
Uh-huh.
putting together metal meter boxes on an assembly line, and
Oh, okay.
it's busy work, so my ADHD brain just gets to, piddle away. The time moves really fast when we have a good amount of work.
Good. That's good. Yeah.
That's the one nice thing about assembly lines is that you're too busy, generally speaking, to look at the clock. So
And that's really nice.
Yep.
I like it.
that's why I always like learning new stuff like at Harley, because that makes time go faster because you're too busy learning and paying attention to what you're doing. You don't have slack off time to look at your phone or whatever.
I don't even take my phone in,
Nice.
which is in another way really nice. It's nice to not be tethered to the smartphone and be like, oh, I don't know what to do with my time. I'll just look at my phone.
Right. They probably don't allow them in there anyway, do they?
They do, but you're not supposed to have them out when you're on the clock, of course.
Right.
And I have never seen somebody break it out when they're on the clock, with the exception one time we were down for like 10 minutes while they loaded up a whole new box in assembly and got all the parts together.
Hmm.
And when they're doing that, there's not a lot you can do while you just wait on the stockman to get everything set up. So you just kind of, look around.
That's a quick turnover, 10 minutes. I would be interested to see what they have to do to stock the line, to destock and then restock the line.
Well, I mean, it's not as complicated as a motorcycle. There might be, anywhere from 20 parts to 60 parts that go in a box, and you divide that between 4, you're doing 15 pieces of work. I think the most pieces I did on a single stage was like 24, and that's because you had to, or no, 44, but because you had to do 20 tabs and 20 bolts, and you had to torque them all down,
Right.
and they were all tiny, and you had to fit them in there, and that was probably the busiest single station that I had to do.
I mean, that sounds pretty similar to a station at Harley.
Can
I
I
mean-
ask where you work?
Millbank Manufacturing, which is they assemble the meter boxes that you see outside of houses where they put that big
Oh,
electrical
cool.
meter. And we assemble the box part of it, which has a bunch of big internals and wires. And they also do like test kits for there are a whole bunch of different types of boxes.
That sounds like really specialized work, isn't it?
Mm,
Do that?
they've got it all planned out in advance. Like I didn't have to go in there with a lot of experience on assembling boxes. They've got a template, and you have a certain number of steps within that template that you're in charge of putting together. And your goal is to get done faster than the people on your right and left.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily super complicated work, but having some mechanical ability certainly helps.
I gotcha. I worked on a assembly line, but it was for Quick Trip, so it was like putting sandwiches together. I struggled to be fast enough even with that job. So
I mean, it's the
I
same
can't imagine.
concept. I'm sure that they have it all timed out beforehand for that. It's the same thing whether you're assembling a sandwich or a motorcycle. They're going to break it down to the most essential tiny parts and say, well, this tiny part should only take this amount of time, and it works on paper.
Impressive.
Okay, I think we're gonna wrap the breakout rooms a little early, and so I'm gonna
Working in the family.
close the room. So that'll be about a minute until
You about
everybody.
ready to go, Mike?
About 1 minute.
Yeah, Julie will reintroduce you. Julie.
Not me. Julie, not me.
Randolph, yeah, the MC.
Hello, Julie. All right, I'm muting myself. Bye.
Those are really good choices. I like the Jane's Addiction cover. That was very cool.
I know.
So what else are you? I see the Malachi papers. You guys are getting together and live streaming. What, about a couple times a week on Facebook?
Maybe like a couple times a month.
Okay, that's been real nice. I tuned in. I kicked you some money that one time. It was really sweet. That's stuff that I like to see in the city.
Yeah.
Okay, about 10 seconds.
Well, hello everyone. We are back. We are streaming. Did everybody have a great visit in the breakout rooms today? Yes. Oh, I got lots of thumbs up. Awesome. We were talking about fish recipes and healthy eating goals and all these things. So be prepared. Marge said she's going to share her recipe with us later. You should all be very jealous. Anyway, we are going to, again, I wanted one more time just to plug our community moments. We know you guys have such amazing, wonderful knowledge in your beautiful brains. We want to make sure that you are able to share with us those things that you've learned and go from there with, sharing just like Melissa did. Okay, please raise your hand or give me a thumbs up if you thought Melissa's talk was absolutely amazing. Like, holy cow, right? That was so interesting. I wish I knew that when I was 5. So now we all know the beautiful information about how to take care of dog's fur or hair, or brush it, or comb it, or what was the rake it thing? So helpful, Melissa, thank you for that. And we are going to have Mike play for us again. And then from there, we will go on to our featured speakers. So Mike, please take us away. Amazing job, Mike. Thank you so, so much. We are going to hear from you one more time at the very end after our main speaker. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing what's happening to my brain. So cool. Thank you very much. We are going to transition over onto our main speaker. We have Tyke Brian today is going to be speaking to us about Peaceful Rally Tulsa. And I'm not gonna belabor. I'm gonna let Tyke Brian introduce herself and kind of a little bit more about what is going on with this new endeavor. So please take it away.
Hi everyone. My name is Tyke Brian Cheshire. I'm 21 years old here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm a college student at NSU, and I founded Peaceful Rallies Tulsa on the 10th of this month. We submitted all of our information, and we are becoming a nonprofit here in Tulsa. Why it started is I've been rallying and doing rallies and protests and events since 2016. And then after George Floyd was killed, me and my husband was like, we should do a rally on the 99th anniversary of Black Wall Street here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we did the big Black Lives Matter rally that made national news. Everyone's talking about Black Wall Street now. And I'm the person that put that one together. So we ended up finding the group Peaceful Rally Tulsa on the 1st of June, and now it's almost over 7,000 people in our Facebook group. And it's pretty exciting to see all of our communities, people from different communities coming together and wanting to work together to make Tulsa and Oklahoma a better place for everyone. So that's what we're doing. After the May 31st rally, we had one on June 11th at Guthrie Green, and it brought out maybe 3,000 people, which was great. And I loved it. It was amazing. It was peaceful. We had speakers of all kinds talking about Black lives and the importance of knowing our history, about Black Wall Street. So that was great. And then, of course, this Friday we had Juneteenth that we just kind of went to celebrate each other. And we actually had Juneteenth on Greenwood, which was very, very important. And then yesterday, of course, President Trump decided to come to Tulsa. And of course, his rally flopped, which was very interesting. And we had our rally. It was called a Rally Against Hate. And it was beautiful. The size of it was amazing. People came out. We had free hot dogs, vegan hot dogs. We had pizza for the community. Everything was free. Everything was grassrooted. What else did we have? We had free waters. We had free snacks. We had voters registration tables set up. We had a canned food drive, and it was just beautiful. So the leftover stuff from yesterday has actually been taken to the homeless shelter because when Trump came, the homeless tent area that we have in Tulsa was wiped away. So all of their stuff was thrown away. Yeah, it was terrible. Everything was thrown away, and it was sad. So we took the rest of the waters and the snacks, and people loaded up in their cars and took it down to the day center for the homeless. And we're just going to donate it at the door. And if anybody wants anything, they can have it. The canned food drive is going to the church that opens all the canned foods and gives them to the community as well and the homeless. So that was our biggest thing, is to give back to our community and show that love can win. And yesterday really showed that love can actually overcome everything that was going on. People were so scared to even be out. And then once we saw the crowd size that he had, it was like, oh gosh, okay, we're good. And there was rallies downtown, and ours was at Veterans Park, which is about 10 minutes away. So we were all really safe, and it was very peaceful. I think maybe 3 or 4 people might have got arrested for protesting, but that wasn't from our group. So I was very happy with the turnout. And our thing for Peaceful Rally Tulsa is to be inclusive. So yesterday at our rally, we had speakers of all different kinds there. We had Native American speakers, we had white speakers, we had African American speakers. I spoke, of course, and we had LGBT speakers. It was just amazing to see our community, Tulsa, that has been divided and segregated for so long, come together in one function and tell each other that we just love you guys. Like, we love each other. So if you guys aren't from Tulsa, so I'll kind of explain a little bit about Tulsa so you guys can get why it's so important. Tulsa has 4 sides. We have Little Mexico, which is the east side of Tulsa. It's where I grew up. We have the north side, which is mostly African-American populated. It's a food desert as well. Has a hard time getting voters registration. It's the sadder part of town. So we want to work on the north side. We need to help build that side. The south side of town is predominantly white. I went to school in the south side, which is our, nice area where the malls are, the big shopping areas. And the west side of Tulsa is kind of like a mix of everything else. So what I wanted to do with Peaceful Rallies Tulsa is educate our community on the importance of bringing each other together and breaking those sides that we live on and making Tulsa actually one. We see that in different places too. You're like, oh, that's south side of Chicago, south side of some area. And, of course you rep your own side of town, but at the same time, we're all Tulsans. We all bleed the same. We're all the same country. We shouldn't be dividing ourselves even more just because of where we live. So that is our plan. We'll be doing more events. We'll be doing a lot of community organizing with younger people, the people that are going to be leading the next generation. Right now we have another event coming in July. It's going to be a barbecue, which is super exciting. And I'm so pumped for that because I love food. So I want the community to be able to come together and eat together. We'll have the little water park open over there. We'll have soccer and football and flag teams going on. But we just want to show that Tulsa can be peaceful and doesn't define by race, religion, sexuality, or disability. We want to be able to come together. So that's pretty much Peaceful Rallies Tulsa, is to bring the community together. And it pretty much sparked because of a rally. So that's the hint of Peaceful Rally, is because it was a peaceful rally, and now we're One Tulsa. So that's what we're going to be doing. I don't know about any of the questions. I don't know how that works. Yes, the rally was great. Let's see. I was trying to read them, but I can't really see them.
I can help translate if you'd like. Nikki commented that they were down in the rally in Tulsa, and so it was amazing. I will be the first to admit I can handle like a tiny bit of news at a time, so I'm still trying to catch up and learn and educate my own self. Can you just give us an overview? Because I have a feeling I'm probably not the only one. I'm just a blabbermouth, and I'm not afraid to say I don't know things. Can you give us a little bit of an overview about that Black Wall Street and about some of the things you guys are trying to celebrate, and a little bit more detail about like, why are you celebrating them? And, you know, you mentioned coming together of your neighborhoods, but what barriers are you meeting, and what are some of the things that your organization is trying to do to help overcome them and bring together that community?
Okay, so yeah, Black Wall Street was the reason we did the rally on the 99th anniversary of Black Wall Street was in 1921, a white woman and a Black man were in an elevator together, and she screamed. So they went and picked him up, and they took him to the jail. And both Black people from Black Wall Street and white people, white mobs, KKK, decided to go to the jail to try to get him. And then it became a fight. Well, the fight got overtaken by the white mob, and the white mob came and destroyed 35 square blocks. 35 square blocks of Tulsa. Black Wall Street was burned to the ground. The only piece of Black Wall Street even left is the basement of one church that is still over in Greenwood. That's where we donate all of our cans for. But that is pretty much what happened. It was gruesome. It was terrible. And after that, there is the train tracks that divide downtown and up, and then going down is the north side. They drove everybody to the north side so they could segregate the people. So I have friends that I went to high school with on the south side where her dad told her she was not allowed to go to the north side, and if she did, he would take her car. She was not allowed to hang out with those types of people out there. Sorry, husband's in the way. And she wasn't allowed to go to that side of town, so she wasn't able to go to the restaurants that I could go to and hang out with the people that I could hang out with. And that's the problem, is it was so segregated that people have heard this myth, and her family wasn't even from here, but people told them, don't let your kids go out north. And that's something we want to break, is people shouldn't be afraid to go to another part of the town just because it's a predominantly Black area. So it's still very segregated from when the race massacre happened, and celebrating Juneteenth on Greenwood is so important because of that. Like, we want to make sure communities feel included in celebrating together and learning about it. This year, we had a diverse group of people, and I've heard so many different people ask, like, are we coming? Do we step on toes? Like, what's going on? I personally, and I can't speak for the full Black community, but I personally love the idea of whites, Blacks, Chinese, LGBTs, everybody coming together and celebrating Juneteenth, because Juneteenth is our 4th of July. It was the actual 4th of July. It was the 4th of July that Black people got, in I think it was 1865, June 19th. So that's when we were actually free-ish. So that's what we should have been celebrating this whole time. So people are now hearing about that, and it's super important. I know everything for white people has been given to them so quickly in the past couple of weeks and the months. You guys are like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of information we're having to take in. So I'm okay with it. I am perfectly fine with people learning and listening. And that's kind of what we want to do with the Peaceful Rallies Tulsa, is give not only white people, but Hispanic people and African-American people a place to go where they feel safe to have these discussions. We'll be doing more videos about interracial couples. My husband's a white man, and we want to have people feel comfortable asking those types of questions, like, how do you guys work together and rallies, and do you feel the same way as she does? And there's just just a lot of things that people have questions about that you can't get from Google, you can't get from YouTube videos. And that's why we want to bring the communities together and have those open discussions.
And that is so helpful because, you know, like you just said, there's people, we're trying to play catch up, and, you know, we have jobs and families and responsibilities, and these civil rights things, like maybe I'm just oblivious. They were so far in the back of my mind, like, oh, I know that's a problem. And then you're just, oh no, an emergency. So thank you for being so open to be like, oh, come here, sweet little baby, I'll explain. Because
let me try to help you.
I know that there's people out there who really truly do want to help us understand, and not just like, I can't believe you don't know this. I am going to switch over to some questions in just a minute. Sarah and Russ asked, have you experienced agitators infiltrating any of your rallies? And if so, how do you deal with that?
So the May 31st rally was one of the biggest I've ever put on. And honestly, when you see a crowd that big, and that's why we say we need as many people as possible to come to these events, because when they see people together, they don't want to infiltrate an event that big, because if you're 2 people and there's thousands, then they're going to tell you, hey, you need to go. You know, you need to leave. And then also we always work with TPD, so they're always monitoring the area either way. But we haven't had really any problems. I mean, like yesterday, they said they saw a guy with a gun and everything. And that guy messaged me this morning, was like, hey, I just was making sure everybody was okay. And I was like, okay, you know, no big deal. And we're still touchy on the gun situation because this is Oklahoma. We have no open carry. You know, we can do whatever we want with our guns. You can wear an AK-47 on your chest and walk around, so it didn't matter. But he did tell me afterwards, you know, I just wanted to let you know. I was like, oh, it's fine. You know, people, of course, are still a little worried about what could happen, but it was so peaceful. And you just want to bring those good vibes in, you know, like the old school hippie thing. We had people sage the area before and tell us they didn't feel super negative, and it was just, it seemed positive, or I wouldn't have wanted to do it.
Excellent. David Black had posted that one of our members noted that the arena, I'm guessing this was maybe the Trump rally arena, was about half empty. Something about K-pop reserve tickets to make a statement. Can you give us a little bit of your experience of that event, and if you were there, or if you heard about it, or if you saw video footage, or just kind of an overview of that experience?
Yes, like I'm still teasing from this, but what happened was, it feels crazy because people camped out starting Monday. They were camping out for Saturday, and they didn't need to, because there was only, I believe they're getting the estimate at 6,200 now. People actually showed up to his event. So what happened was people were buying his tickets, or, you know, putting their information in to get tickets. And he got up to like 1 million tickets or whatever, and only 6,000 people showed up. And so it didn't fill up the BOK. That's not even half of what the BOK can fill. And now on Twitter, people are commenting, but didn't Cardi B sell out the BOK? Yeah, so it's great. I think our graduating class, my sister graduated last year, and she had her graduating class at the BOK, and we were in nosebleed seats at the top. So that's how big it was. And his pictures only show the bottom, and they're very zoomed in. And you could tell, because if anyone's ever been at the BOK, that upper level is still there. So I'm very glad that the K-poppers and the teenagers and other people did that. At first, I was like really irritated. Why would you guys do that? Like, then he's going to think that he wants to do a second rally, then wants to do 2 rallies. And it worked out in the end. So it was great, and I was happy about it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Julie asked about the Black Wall Street as well. Julie, please chime in if you wanted more information. I feel like the summary you gave us was super, super helpful in just understanding more about that, especially in Tulsa. And then David also asked about what is the general reaction about the rally that you were a part of from the surrounding community. So whether that was other towns in Oklahoma, or, you know, I know you said you made national news. So give us some feedback about what have you heard about, you know, oh my gosh, thank you for doing this, or was there anything negative?
No negatives. That's the weird part, is usually you get a lot of negatives, but this time it wasn't that. People are more worried about my safety of doing anything. And mostly any negative comments were about my name. They're like making fun of my name, which I thought was funny. So I don't know if you're still there. Okay. Which was making fun of my name, and I thought it was funny, so I didn't really care. I'm doing something that's bigger than me and bigger than what anyone could have expected me to do at 21. Most people are just like, you're 21 years old and you're doing this. And I'm like, most 21-year-olds are floating the river and getting drunk. And I'm over here just like wanting to change the world now because that's what's important right now.
Absolutely. I'm going to kind of combine a question with Jocelyn. Rose had said, what are steps here that we can take in Kansas and Missouri to support your work, whether it's monetary or otherwise? And then I'm going to add a little tweak onto that, Jocelyn, if you don't mind, is you being so young in 21, you know, you're at the beginning of your adult life, and I'm so excited to see what you carry forward. How can we encourage our own, whether they're children or young adolescents or teens or young 20-somethings, how can we encourage them to be not only aware of what's going on, but to make their voices heard?
Ooh, okay, that's perfect. Because what I've been wanting to do is when Peaceful Rallies Tulsa, it takes like 3 weeks for the IRS to get everything set together for your nonprofit. But once it's done, I'm going to want to travel to places like Kansas City and St. Louis and kind of talk to the younger generation that are people that want to be activists. And they're like, well, we want to do it, but I don't know how. Okay, well, here's how, baby. Let's get this started. Like, I want you to be that person for us because the older generation, they're tired. They've been like having to do this for so many years. And I've seen so many posts that are like, I'm still having to protest this. And I'm like, well, it's not your time anymore. It's ours. So let us get up and you guys sit back. You tell us what you had to do. And let's use our knowledge of social media and our platforms and do it. You know, no matter race, religion, sexuality, disability, you should be able to do it just as much as I can.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, amazing. I'm so excited. I can't wait. You can sleep in my guest room. I'm sure you'll have so many guests. We're going to arm wrestle. Be like, Ty's coming to dinner. No, I get her Friday. No, you get her Friday. Oh. Okay, so just be prepared.
My husband's from Chanute, Kansas. So he has family in Kansas City, and then I think he has friends in other parts of Kansas. So we would be willing to come there too. And of course, we love Missouri and Kansas. Not Missouri and Kansas, I guess Kansas and Missouri. Every time I think about Kansas City, but we love that area. We were actually there for the Super Bowl in Kansas City for the Chiefs because he's a big Chiefs fan. And so we would love to come back and make Peaceful Rallies St. Louis and in Kansas City a big thing, and try to bring our cities together because that's how we the people will fix our country.
I can hear a tailgating party at the stadium with, well, I know it couldn't necessarily be Oasis sponsored, but it'd be like, Oasis welcomes Ty to come to us. And you're going to just provide us education, maybe not necessarily a rally, but just, hey, have an education session and make a hot dog and yay Chiefs, you know, like I think we could work on this, girl.
That's why people don't fight when you bring food, because you're too busy sparking your face with a hot dog that you're like, what was I going to fight about?
That's why we give people coffee. So it's like we have to make our own coffee for right now. There was another question here. Have you considered running for office? Was one of our questions.
So I want to start locally right now. What I want to do is keep going where I'm going, you know, because there's a lot of politics that play into locals, and I don't want to change what I'm doing at this time. And I want to do that. But right now I've even stepped into the activist locally, and there's a lot of drama, and I'm not about drama. So right now I want to get my name out there so people know exactly I'm for the people, by the people, and everything we've done is grassrooted for the people. And I want to keep that going. And then maybe in a couple of years, I'll announce running for the mayor or city council or something like that. But getting our community together first is my biggest thing.
Excellent. And I think, you know, flawless, amazing. Somebody did have a question. If you have any insight as to, there was something with Diamond and Silk, and I apologize. I'm not into details on this. It sounded like they were Black Lives Matter supporters, and then they might have ended up, please fill us in. Please fill us in.
Oh, baby. So there's, I will kind of explain it because I kind of find it's funny for me, but and my husband, he'll laugh about it too. Diamond and Silk and Candace Owens, we call them the knockoffs, kind of the knockheads too. They kind of get popular and then they change their views during that time period so then they can fit a different narrative and be famous. That kind of is what they do. They don't stick to what they could have done and made a great platform for themselves. You know, it's okay to have different beliefs, but when you change your beliefs and then diss your own race, that's a problem, because then it makes it easier for people like that watch that certain network to also say, well, that's the Black friend that I said could that says those things, and I'm just gonna follow what she says. I'm like, but she doesn't speak for us. She doesn't, you know, like Candace Owens, Diamond and Silk, they don't speak the language I speak. I speak peace, love, community organizing, and wanting to help our community. They kind of speak whatever Trump says. And that's just, you know, we don't want to have that. And there's always going to be people from different minority groups that support different things. And I'm okay with different people being Republican or Democrat. But when you go against your own race, then that's a problem.
So I guess another question might be, have you had issues, you know, like that was a really good example of, well, and then they switched views. Like, do you have any idea of what's motivating these people? Like, are they getting money? Are they just getting
that money, baby? Money will make you change it.
Okay. Okay. Have you ever been offered any sort of like, hey, we'd love you to just please shut up. Can we give you money? And then you go away. Like, has that ever come up in your adventure of life?
Nope. And I wouldn't take anybody's money. I'm not even wearing any makeup. This is the naturalist you will see me. I have a Bernie tattoo, Tupac and John Lennon tattoo. If I changed up, you would have to take my tattoos away, because I would not be being honest to myself. Money is the root of all evil, and I'm not even a religious person, by the way, but it is the root of evil, because people think, oh, well, if I get some money, I could change my views. And then I might not even believe that mentally, or like even in my head, I don't believe those things, but other people will do it, and then I can get this money. I would rather be broke and do my mission grassrooted than get paid by some billionaire to say things I don't believe in.
And I think that speaks a lot about your integrity and your character. And we're having applause all over. I don't know if you can see them all. But like, just kudos to you, dude. Like, those are really hard decisions to make, when, especially when you're thinking, I have a husband. I can see your cute little dogs in the background, and like you have walls around you. I'm guessing you probably have to pay for where you live. You know, like our lives cost money. You have technology that you're using. You have to make sure that you can get your word out to people, and that all costs money. And so kudos to you.
Well, my man works 2 jobs, baby. He good. We good.
There you go.
I would just say that everybody's like, well, I did work before all this cracked off and everything. And I was just like, you know what? This is that time where you're having to decide, do I want to follow my passion and maybe be broke for a while, or stay at a job and not follow my passion and do what everyone else is doing, and losing sight of what they truly want to do. And my husband's like, you just quit your job and I work 2 jobs. I was like, ain't gonna tell me twice, baby. I will go ahead and do what I gotta do. And he believes in the mission more than I have to myself. Sometimes pulls me back up and let's keep going.
Is he around? Can you bring him to the camera and introduce us to this amazing, wonderful supporter that you have, so we can celebrate him?
What's up, Chiefs fam?
Oh,
Super Chiefs fan here. You guys show me your tattoo.
Yes.
I got that on Sunday.
He got that on the suit for the Super Bowl, and then I got my Bernie tattoo in Kansas City, the same time he did. So then Bernie decided to quit, but it's okay. I still took his politics and ran with him, and it's not about me. I'm just the front face. I'm the person supporting these things. It's about all of us coming together and being together and showing that love and unity can actually win. So that's what we're gonna do.
Absolutely. You know, and just like I you know, we've all heard different perspectives of, you know, did Bernie really intend to win, or was he just like, I don't care what you say, this is what needs to happen, and just like planting seeds of ideas for people like you and me and our Oasis community and all of our, you know, like-hearted people to just have those ideas and like, I don't know, that's crazy. We should think about that. But we have Nikki's over here. She says, I'm in tears. But I was going to tell me your husband's name one more time. I'm sorry.
That's Ian.
Ian. Okay. So Ian, when you guys come to Kansas City, just know you are going to have to lovingly kiss your wife and then farm her out to the rest of us Kansas City people, because I can just tell you right now, we want to suck all the goodness out of your brain and just wildfire. Okay. We'll leave it there. We're just gonna, Xerox copy it to share the love.
He's got his coffee too. He didn't make me a cup, but he's got his own.
All right. We'll let it slide just this once. But we want to make sure you guys I'm gonna have the admins of our Facebook group reach out to you guys so that we can have you able to ping in, hey, here's this really cool thing that happened with our movement, or we've got our 501c3 stuff to different mile markers so that we can keep in touch with you. We love having people come visit us in our, our speeches or our education sessions, and we love just kind of seeing how things are evolving. And that always sparks this really amazing discussion of, oh yeah, I remember that talk. Did you see it? Here's the video. Go back and watch it. So I'm going to start wrapping up. Guys, if you have any other questions,
just follow me on my page. You can always follow my Facebook too if you have any other extra questions, and I can get to you guys there too.
Perfect. Yeah. So I will have Julie Wisman. I'll have either her or Nikki reach out to you and make sure that we can post like, hey, here's the way that we can follow you very clearly, because especially we know that you've kind of shared with us that you are a safe place that we can come seek out resources or say, dude, I don't get it. Please help me. I'm a beautiful little moron, and I just don't understand a lot of things. If you want to know about nursing, sure, I can tell you. I don't know a lot of things. So you're gonna hear from me, dude. Be prepared.
Just let me know. It's all about this right now is a teaching experience for people with even just the Black Lives Matter thing. I was talking to a trans person yesterday, and he was explaining to me different ways to help with the pronoun and the misgendering. And I was like, thank you, you're teaching me. So that's what I need. I need people to do that and give me this information, make me the sponge so then I can tell other people like, hey, you misgendered this person. This is what they want to be called. So we can actually learn. And I've explained to them that this is going to be a learning year for us. And it's 2020, perfect vision. That means everything is starting to be clearer. So it's time for us to help each other wake up.
Absolutely. Now, are you guys receiving donations yet, or do you still have to wait for the official 501c3 stuff?
We have our EIN number, so we're good to go ahead and take them. It's on the PayPal as well online, so we're able to take them and keep note of everything.
Perfect. So I will see if one of my beautiful computer people can acquire that and either put it on our chat today, or for those of you watching on Facebook, we will do our best to link that after the fact so that you can always click in later and donate to the amazing cause for specifically Tulsa, and making sure that Tequibrian has some funds to help spread this amazing message. So thank you so much. I wish I could just keep us talking and educating people forever and ever, but unfortunately we have things
we have lives.
Well, we get to hear Mike play again, so we can't be too sad, right? Thank you again. I'm going to transition over. Let me check my notes really fast. Oh, hey, speaking of 501c3s, we're 501c3 too. So we of course want you donating to Tequibrian. If you guys can do Venmos for Mike, and of course Oasis, don't forget about us. That's how we all got here today. So your human hands can solve our human problems by giving us some platforms, especially looking forward into the future. We're hoping to have another venue that we can meet. We are really hoping for a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week space that we can really make our own, but we do need those donations in order to keep Oasis Kansas City thriving. So recurring donations are the absolute best way that you can support KC Oasis. We have a simple give website on our kcoasis.org. You can also give by text. That phone number, you can just send them a text and it'll kind of walk you through some prompts. 816-839-7656. And then of course, if you have the internet handy, www.kcoasis.org/donate. And we are going to transition. Mike is going to play another song for us. We are so lucky. One more song of this amazing musical instrument and performance. And then we will bid each other a farewell to go celebrate a beautiful Sunday. Okay, Mike, take it away.
Thelonious Monk, America's greatest composer.
Yay! Awesome. So amazing. Gosh, it's so easy to just tune into the music and then just everything else just wash away. Is that just me? Raise your hand if you zoned out a little bit. Just jam into the music. Oh yeah. Lots of hands. Perfect. Alrighty, Mike, thank you so much for your time today. Holy cow, guys. That was freaking amazing. I don't even know what just happened. That was the best thing ever. We are so lucky. Thank you all to Mike for playing music, Melissa for talking to us about animals and how to keep our dogs' coats healthy. Plug, if you can, please stay after. We are going to have kind of a question and answer session. If you have a question about your dog, Melissa has very generously offered to stick around and help you guys answer your questions. So if you want to do the, hey, I have my dog, can you look at it? Do the thing. It's going to be great. And then thank you for all of our volunteers. Thank you to Julie for helping manage our Zoom and for JJ coordinating our, there he is, JJ. Thank you for coordinating all of our musicians, hooking us up with this amazing selection of music today with Mike. And of course, Tykee Brian, I am just blown away at all the work you've been doing. We cannot wait to see, because I think you are just an amazing trailblazer. You're going to set this world in a happy fire. So we cannot wait to see how your story goes and how your journey continues and what we can do to be a part of that. And thank you all. I mean, there are more faces on here than I can even recognize. Thank you guys for being here, sharing your Sundays with me. If you have dads in your life, please give them some love, text them, hug them, whatever you're able to do. Give them a phone call, send them a picture with noodles on it. I don't care. Make sure you're reaching out. Thank you guys, and we will see you next week.